You're going to hate me for this one. Here's a mix tip for how to get your mixes to sound wider. Pan wider. Instead of panning conservatively and then trying to use a stereo widener plugin on your master bus to spread things out, the phase manipulation that the stereo widener is doing is far less natural than just panning super wide, or at least wider than you are. Sometimes I get sessions to mix that the artist or the producer has just pushed something a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right, and I look at it and I wonder if those panning choices are just arbitrary. You can usually get a lot more space. You can get a lot more room for your center stuff, like your vocal, your kick, your bass, your snare, just with panning. Here's a good example. Let's look at Ghost. We have the iconic nylon string guitar part. And that's doubled by this guy. Now here we have an opportunity to take two things that are different in timbre but similar in composition and spread them out. So if we put the nylon on the left, and then this is really a mono track. I don't know why this is like an export. This is another reason you don't want mono instruments on stereo tracks. Listen to how they just support each other, and you get this wide balanced separation. And that's with two things that balance one another. You can balance like this with any two instruments that share kind of the same frequency spectrum, or that are doing the same style of thing in the arrangement. Maybe it's even electric guitar on one side and organ on the other, or something like that. It could be any kind of keyboard, and it doesn't always have to be balanced either. Sometimes you want to unbalance the stereo picture, and you can create contrast between the tension of having a left heavy or right heavy mix for a little while in the song, and then the release of just spreading it out and filling the entire stereo spectrum. It can be very, very satisfying. Let's see what else we can do with some of these other guitars. It does have a little bit of stereo processing on it. It looks like it's stereo, but I think it's mono. A little bit of the width of that electric guitar because it's got some chorus on it. In fact, here's another thing we can do. Since I have one electric guitar on the right already, I'm going to pan the rhythm guitar to the left. I don't need to reverse the panning. I'll just put it a little bit to the left, and then take this acoustic rhythm guitar, pan that to the right, opposite the nylon string lead. This could be a spot where we could put that lead a little bit to the left and actually kind of surprise the listener. That acoustic guitar on the right. Do you hear this organ? Now do you hear it?
Sometimes I see.
So, I mean, one thing is just don't be afraid to pan hard left or hard right. You don't have to do it all the time, but if you can get away with it, I'd say do it when you can. You can create a lot of space in the center and create a lot of width in your mix, and everybody's always looking for more width. For me, I'm not looking for a mastering engineer to add width to something that I've already mixed because I'm going to mix it as wide as I want. You can only push a signal all the way into the left speaker or all the way into the right speaker when you're mixing in stereo. So instead of looking for some kind of processing to give you that wideness, why would you not push those instruments as far out to the sides as they can go? As long as you can still achieve the sense of balance that you're looking for and you don't have a totally lopsided mix. In fact, if you're not hard panning something, ask yourself why. Either have a specific reason not to pan hard, or make sure that you can hear the difference and that you can identify the placement in the stereo field that's working for that instrument. Sometimes you have some odd part that just, you don't want to push it too far out. It draws too much attention to itself. So you just kind of have to, you work the pan knob and find that spot where it just tucks in right where it's meant to be. Like I said, not everything has to be panned hard. If you want stuff wide, hard panning is the way to do it. If you have double guitars, push them out. If you have doubled keys, push them out. Especially if you have doubled guitars. If you want a wall of guitar sound and you have two guitars playing the same riff, if I get that session and I see that those two guitars are panned 45 to the left, 45 to the right, the first thing I'm going to do is hard pan those guitars because I want that space, I want that width, and that hugeness that comes from exploiting every inch of stereo spread that you have, and that's how you get a wide mix. Plain and simple, pan wide.
Sometimes I see your ghost in the shadow of the night.